Hey everybody, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. I'm here to share with you guys a little bit more Copic coloring of two more of the super cute, funky, steampunky pups from the Ranger Dilutions stamp set called Puppy Dog Tales, created by Diane Reevely. I think these two pups are so stinking cute, and I decided to use more kind of traditional steampunk colors to color them up. So first off, I'm starting with a little terrier puppy, and I decided to use kind of burgundies and dark blues. And of course, I'm laying in the first light color, just the base color of the areas of the puppy that I want to color up burgundy. And then I'm going in right away with the darkest shade, and I'm putting in the shaded areas with that darker shade. The lower part under the chin, inside the deepest part of the eyes, the base of the belly, so on and so forth. And then I'm blending out with the medium tone, that's the R85. And then I realized that the kind of span between those two shades is too great, so I'm using some point-to-point coloring. I'm taking the lighter marker in my right hand and I'm touching the tip to the darker marker and then going back in and blending. I'm doing the same thing again with the lightest color, the R81 with the R85, and I'm doing that touch, point-to-point touching, and then I'm coloring with that transferred ink of the darker marker onto the lighter marker. Now I'm going back in and re-emphasizing the darkest shades and then blending back out with the mid-tone and then finally with the lightest color. I wanted a real three-dimensional look. Now on to the cute little combat boots. I decided to color up those boots as well as the puppy face and ears with that lightest blue shade. Then I'm going in with the darkest color again to lay in where I think there would be shadows around the base of the muzzle, at where the muzzle meets the forehead, underneath the eyes, underneath kind of the chin area. All those areas would have darker shadows. Inside the boots, on the edges of the boots, behind the front of the boot, where the shaft of the boot joins the front of the boot, and all those areas along the edges of the base of the boots are all getting that darkest blue. And then I'm blending together with that mid-tone blue, bridging the gap from the darkest area to the lighter blue areas and making sure to leave the highlighted areas with that lightest shade, which I'm blending with now just to bring all of those three blue shades together. And this time the blues were close enough so that I didn't have to do that tip-to-tip coloring technique. Then I decided for the muzzle, I did want a little bit of color there. I'm using the lightest and the mid-tone for a little bit of shading, and then back in with the lightest tone. I didn't want the muzzle to be as dark as the rest of the body and the ears where there were polka dots. Then I decided I'm going to use this gold jelly roll pen. It's a metallic, just to color in the highlights on the boots and around the eyes. And I'm using a Copic multiliner pen to reestablish the outline of the highlights on the boots and the eye. And you see here for the left eye, the Copic multiliner pen does a pretty good job coloring or marking over the metallic jelly roll pen. But on the right eye, the Copic multiliner pen, the point of it is ruining that paper. It's bringing up some fuzziness. So I decided to color up a second eye that's larger, just freehand drew it and then glued that right on top. Now for the Dachshund. I decided to give him a kind of yellow-green or kind of more army green sweater and the little tail cover. And I laid in the base color. Then I'm going in with the darkest color here at the base, the underside of the sweater or belly of the dog. Then I'm bridging the two colors with that mid-tone. And I think that blended really nicely. Now for the dog, I decided I wanted the dog to have kind of a golden brown color, so I'm using a Y23 for the base. And then I'm gonna lay in the shadowed areas with the YR24. And I love this YR color. It's great for steampunk, but it's also got a very nice antique-y tone to it. So I'm laying that in where the shadows are and then going over to bridge the gap, not with a third color, but with some of this tip-to-tip coloring, taking the lighter color in my right hand and touching the tip to the darker pen, and then using that transferred ink to blend. Now I'm going back in with the shadowed areas with that YR24 directly. Here I'm going to color in the darker areas, the eyes and the little slipper boots with the E74 and an E79 for the darker areas. And I thought that would be a nice steampunky combination. I decide I need 71 as well to get in the highlighted areas, and then go back in to reemphasize the dark areas and blending in with that mid-tone. And for highlights, I'm using a white Uniball Signo gel pen, and then I'm going to use my Copic multiliner pen again to emphasize around those highlights so that it looks like that's directly from the image rather than just, overlaid on top. And I'm also re-emphasizing the nose, which wasn't stamped out super clearly. And that's the fourth steampunk dog colored up. I hope you've enjoyed this process video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful crafty day.